Okay, so it'd be good to start, I guess, to understand is if working in the IT industry has been, an objective of yours sort of since you were young, school age or whatever, or if you've come to the industry later on, just how did you arrive at the industry, I guess?
I have an interesting path, I think, because I started off when I was in school. I was around 10 years old and I was learning about computers. So then I thought I want to be a computer engineer because my teacher said that those who are good at math can be computer engineers. And then I was hooked onto that idea. I didn't have a computer growing up, but I was really good at math. And I thought as long as I can improve my mathematical skills, when I get a computer, I can just apply them. That was me being very naive when I was 10 years old. I also looked up to some of our family friends who were studying at a really good university in India. So I thought, okay, I'll follow their path and get there. But it's been a bit of an accident and partially a designed choice as well. I kept changing my course. So I went from engineering to product management towards design. And now I feel that it's been full circle. And I play to my strengths. And whenever I see something exciting for me to learn, I hold on to that opportunity.
Okay, and in terms of, you say you've sort of moved around in terms of what you were studying and stuff, but in terms of your career to date, it'd be good to understand where you started and how you've ended up at Mendix today and what you're doing there.
Yeah, sure. So I have a bachelor's and master's in engineering design. So this was about bringing the engineering and the product design aspects together. It was a very novel study that I did that already exposed me to think about not just the technology, but for whom are we building these products? Who is going to impact with this? And that kind of gave me a new lens towards looking at products. And after that, I worked in a startup that was working in the manufacturing industry, which is very also male dominated. And the startup was also filled with men. I was one of the 2 women over there. And after that, I moved to the Netherlands, where I found an opportunity in Eindhoven University of Technology. And there I was hired as a researcher, as an employee to do research. So I started learning more about digital technologies. I worked as a researcher. So as a researcher, my main goal was to really understand the impact the technology was having on people. How can we improve our products? And then when I found Mendix, it was almost, I would say, like serendipity, because it brings technology and design and the people at the center of it, right? So Mendix enables anyone to become a maker, to make digital solutions, to solve challenges. And that's how I arrived at Mendix. And it's been almost 3 years since I'm here.
And in terms of the journey, you said that there at the startup, for example, you were in a fairly male-dominated environment, and obviously the IT space is sort of known for that. So have you experienced any sort of career challenges along the way? And would you say any of those were because of your gender? Were you sort of ignored or slightly sidelined because you're a female in a male-dominated, just your sort of experiences, the good and the bad, I guess?
Yeah, that's a challenging question. So I feel that sometimes, even during my university times or when I'm working, people would just assume that I would be the one to take notes. I would be the one to make presentations because I was good at soft skills, such as speaking or collaborating. And it took me some time to realize what was happening and that it was a stereotypical aspect, but I'm also good at doing these things. So when I feel that it's coming from a stereotypical perspective, I make sure that we share responsibilities in a team. So I stand up, and a typical thing that we do in our team right now is everyone takes notes once at a time. So it kind of rotates, and that helps others also to improve their skills. Yeah, so these would be like some subtle signs, I would say.
Yeah, and in terms of, since you sort of, whether you say it's in your sort of university days or since then, have you noticed changes, and hopefully those have been positive changes, as to sort of how women and diversity in general is handled in the workplace, or has it been pretty much the same from day one to where you are now?
I mean, I would be lying if I say it's the same or it has gone backward. I constantly see improvements and progress. about how women are treated in workplaces, and this can reflect in, I can give you an example of what we do at Mendix. We started Mendix's first employee resource group. It's called GEM. GEM stands for Gender Equity at Mendix. And we started last year. We launched it on International Women's Day. And the way we founded it, it was a bottom-up initiative. A bunch of us from different departments across Mendix. In fact, Snigdha, one of my colleagues who's in marketing in the US, she reached out and she said, do we have such a group, a women in tech group at Mendix? And when she saw that we didn't have one, we just made it. And it's been 1 year, and now we have around 300 members who are part of our community. We've had our second Women's Day celebration earlier last month, and it was both online and offline. Like people could watch it in real life as well. And there were around 200 people who showed up. And last year there were around 100. So that is already a way to see that more people are being aware of how this is an important topic.
And in terms of, I mean, you say you've noticed a positive, but do you think, or if you do think there's more that can be done, any thoughts as to, I say, obviously the Mendix, they've created an initiative. I mean, does the industry more generally need to sort of drive change, or are we now at the stage where people are aware of it, so it's going to be more organic? Just thoughts as to, you know, what more can be done, and if so, sort of how?
I think there is a lot to be done, right? I mean, we are benefiting from the work that was done by, let's say, people from earlier generations who have created the space for women to go vote, for women to work beyond secretarial jobs. So we have to keep doing this. And by we, I mean everyone. So it's not just on the shoulders of women, it's everyone's responsibility, because having a diverse workplace also brings business impact. We all know that when you, for example, I am from India, I come from a different cultural background. So when I'm in a product strategy meeting, I ask different questions because of my different upbringing, different training. So when you have more diverse people, you know, the product and the business goals definitely have a positive impact. So I feel there should be continuous efforts in this initiative to make, a better space for future generations as well. And these should be both top down and bottom up, right? So employees in companies should feel empowered to create these spaces, show support for each other, offer advice. And I have met really fantastic women. We do a monthly lunch in our Rotterdam office. It's a great networking opportunity as well. And because of an initiative like GEM, I have been able to collaborate with people from different departments like operations and marketing. I'm in R&D. So eventually we see that the product also benefits from it because we have established these connections. We exchange information during lunch. So I feel these efforts should continue. And what we see from top down also, there is a need to have more women in leadership, because I need role models and future generation also need role models. So this is not the time to stop.
I mean, does it surprise you, because I mean, what you say is every sort of survey I've read, and I was listening to a radio program the other day, that everyone who embraces diversity as an organization has, as you say, massive benefits because they have so many different perspectives. So they're not sort of, tunnel vision, we're going this way and ignoring half the world or, a significant minority. Are you perhaps slightly surprised that more companies aren't sort of proactive? They may not be anti, diversity, but they're not actively sort of seeking to develop it, and they're going to suffer as a result.
Yeah, I agree with that, because as surprising as this is, when I talk about what I do with my friends outside work or people in other companies, we all sort of live in a bubble. We think that all the problems have been solved and there is no blatant gender discrimination. It can also be because women don't have that safe space where they can share what they have experienced. And then everyone thinks that, it's 2023, we shouldn't be talking about gender discrimination, right? But I think when we create that safe space and offer people the space to speak up and listen, we learn how we can improve. And people shouldn't take it as a personal failure if a workplace is not inclusive. It's an opportunity. You can always frame a challenge as an opportunity. Yeah. And I hope more and more companies realize this. I also like that we as Mendix post about this on our LinkedIn profile. For example, we post about our culture. So it's not just about all the business information, but Mendix is actively showing their commitment towards gender equity. Our careers page, for example, has a full feature on GEM, so that other women applicants who are coming looking for jobs, they know that, okay, Mendix has this space, they take this topic seriously.
Yeah, and in terms of people looking to get in, join the industry, whether that's from, straight from education or they're already got a career somewhere and want to, jump across. You got any advice? And you mentioned, for example, there, the Mendix website, if you go and look there, you'll have a fairly good indication as to their values, which is good. I mean, if a company doesn't have that on their website, is that a definite warning sign, or might it just be that you just need to ask the question a bit more forcefully to find it? Just thoughts as to
rather the latter. I always give everyone a benefit of doubt, and an interview process, it's a two-way street. So as much as the company is evaluating if you fit the job role, you're also evaluating if the company fits your needs, if the values align. And in that case, I would suggest just ask in an interview, like, what initiatives do you have in work to support women, or how does the leadership in the company look like? Because just because someone's not promoting it on social media, you cannot make the assumption that it's not happening. So that would be my advice. And we've also heard from other women that were hired in the last 1 year that they saw that Mendix is investing in GEM, and we talk about this, and it has a positive impact. And especially when people have multiple job offers, it can be a differentiator. I mean, in the end, we spend 8 hours per day working. You might as well be in a space that you enjoy, feel respected. And it also reflects in the hiring processes, right? So how does the interview panel look like? What kind of questions are being asked? How much space do you have to ask a question? Yeah.
Okay. And then maybe just as we sort of finish, you might not have a sort of answer, but if you were able to sort of wave a magic wand and change one thing in the industry when it came to sort of diversity and, the sort of lack of, say, diversity, whether that's women or minority groups, anything that you think, yes, this is an obvious thing everyone should be doing, and not or whatever.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things, and then I'll get to the magic wand. So first is diversity does not imply inclusion. So you cannot put a bunch of people that, for example, look different in one room and expect that it will be an inclusive space, right? So you put them together, but you also have to create that space. So there needs to be continued efforts in making everyone feel that belonging. And often a lot of companies stop once they hit their diversity requirements. So there needs to be more steps in that process. And the second one is, there is no right or wrong. There is no failure or success, because a lot of people take sometimes, I also have sometimes made mistakes where, for example, I assume someone's pronouns or what could be their orientation. And then you just have to learn to apologize quickly and learn from that process. Often I have seen heated debates around the topic where a debate is not what we need. What we need is to really listen to each other, not discount other person's experience, right? So, and that happens when you have your ego kind of hurt, or you have to change your worldviews because you grew up with certain ideas. So if I had a magic wand, I would get everyone to be a good listener. Like, take a training, learn that skill, because in general, it makes you a better person.
Okay, that's brilliant. I mean, we had a lovely chat and you've shared some fascinating insights. So, Bindu, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.